Hey, in this video, I'm going to show you how to use Claude Code to build a LinkedIn outreach system that's fully autonomous and doesn't put your LinkedIn account at risk of being banned. This is a perfect system if you're already running cold outreach, or you're an entrepreneur looking to use AI and help out businesses, or if you're already a business owner that is looking to supplement your go-to-market, this video is for you. Now, a couple of pros about this system is that we don't need any third-party tools that charge you an arm and a leg. We own the system outright and it's completely customizable. The problem with these tools isn't necessarily the price, although they are charging you anywhere from $80 to $500, and you still have to configure the system. And if you use it too much, or if a mistake is had, then your LinkedIn account can be suspended or it could even be banned. So the best part about this is that is completely off the table with this system that we're building, because quite literally there is no flags for LinkedIn to detect. So how did this come to be? Well, I like to build cold email systems for clients. One of my clients asked about LinkedIn outreach, and I've used it in the past, or done it in the past rather, using those tools, but I've never really been a fan of them. So given the experience that I have with Claude Code, I figured that this was achievable using Claude Code, and turns out that it is. So how this works essentially is I like to build internal notifications for our campaigns, and I route all of those replies via Slack. So here's a couple of examples of what that looks like. We classify the lead based off the response. We read the entire thread, give a summary of what's going on, and then I even like to include a suggested reply for my clients to possibly use, or me, depending on our agreement as to who responds to the campaign. But with that being said, Slack receives every reply. The reason being is because sometimes I've seen us get cold replies, and they just need a little bit of nurturing, and we can convert that into a deal. But when someone replies warmly or positively, or it's a hot lead, in that moment, we can send them a connection request, and it's very likely that they'll accept it because they've already been introduced to you through this cold email and you've piqued their interest. So what I like to do is I've added an additional step to that internal notification. And not only does it go to Slack, but now the data goes to N8N. And in N8N, we make sure that it's a warm or hot lead. We find them in our cold email database. We check if they're inside the connection request queue. And depending on if they are or not, we just update them to a #1 priority so that we send out that connection request ASAP, or we just add them with the priority updated as well. So it's one or the other. If they are in our cold email database, but their LinkedIn URL doesn't exist, we find it, we check that the LinkedIn URL is valid, and then we add it to that connection request queue. So that's the workflow here. So we're going to be building this in Claude Code, and then we also are going to build this workflow as well. But if you're not running cold email, that's totally fine. You don't need to, although this helps a lot because you already have a lead list to build. And then we're going to build a queue builder. So this is going to be a script that creates the in-mail and connection request lists. And if you aren't familiar with what InMail is, it's just cold outreach for LinkedIn. You get a longer message box that you can send your message to, while the connection request is more of like a friend request, and you can add a note to it. Then we're going to build our outreach orchestrator. So this is what is going to add delays to the agent that's running this connection request automation. And then we have our browser agent. We're just going to install a special agent that uses an accessibility tree versus CSS selectors. So it's just a better way of, it's like an improved version of Playwright. And then we have LinkedIn. That's where everything happens, all the magic. I'm going to queue a demo here. So we're now going into a live run after some debugging. All of the prompts reflect the new updates, and we can see we're going to whoever this person is. My agent is clicking connect like it just did. It's offering to add a note for personalization. So now it's going to Alex Hermosi, clicks the 3 dots, and then it's sent a connection request. Same thing. Do we want to add a note? I prefer not to. But after Alex Hermosi, let's see, it's Layla Hermosi. And my hands are here, so you guys can see everything that's happening in real time. Awesome. Sent a connection request to Layla Hermosi. And then, so I'm just going to stop it. You guys can see what's happening. And then we're going to build it live. So because we're using Claude Code, we really just need a couple of prompts. I mean, as you guys know, Claude Code is capable of building things using natural language. So once you have your terminal open, I actually already built a list of prompts that you can just plug in. And here it is. You could just plug this in as you follow along with this video. The resources are in the description in the link, the link in the description below. It's to my free Skool community where I have all assets to all my YouTube videos. So you can just join, go to the classroom, and that's where you're going to find this. Now, this first prompt is going to build your spreadsheet that looks something like this. So we have our sample lead list. You can just plug in your cold email lead list if you already have one. We have our blacklist tab, and then we have the in-mail and connection queue. So if you plug that first prompt in, it's going to build this for you with these headers, and you're going to be good to go. All you got to do is replace your sample leads with an actual lead list. The next step is going to be building our queue builder. So this is going to be a script that actually takes that lead list, identifies active URLs, ensures that we aren't reaching out to people that are in your blacklist or do not contact list, and then it's going to add them to their appropriate tab. So I'm going to copy this and paste this into Claude Code. And we already have a fresh session going on. Now, I just realized I may have skipped a step. So if you guys haven't set up OAuth credentials to your Claude Code, I'm going to show you guys how to do that. You can also just click the link here. It's very easy. What you're going to want to do is go to your Google Cloud Console. I have mine open here. I already have a project, but you're going to want to create a new project if you don't have one. On the left-hand side, there's a hamburger menu, and then you're going to scroll down here to APIs and services. Then go to library, and then now we have a bunch of Google Workspace features that you're going to want to enable your API. So I clicked on Google Sheets. Mine's already enabled, but you're going to want to configure yours so that it is enabled. Same thing with Google Drive if you want, and then a bunch of other things. Once you have all those things enabled, once again, go back to the hamburger menu on the upper left-hand side, go down to credentials, create a new credential, and then you're going to click OAuth Client ID. The application type is going to be desktop app. You can name it whatever you want. I'm going to create it, and then do not touch anything in the screen, or do not close out of the screen until you've downloaded the JSON. So see where my mouse is? You're going to want to download this JSON, open it up in your Finder, rename it to credentials. So now it's credentials.json. And then you're going to want to move this file over to the root of the project folder that we're working with inside Anti-Gravity. I'm just going to delete this since I already have mine. So I'm going to press OK, and then I'm going to delete this as well. So be sure that you have that in there first before you run any of these prompts. That way Claude has access to your Google Workspace and Google Sheets. So going back to the tutorial, I pasted prompt 1, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste prompt 1, and then I'm going to hit run. So prompt 1 is cooking up. What this does is it checks your lead list. If it has an email, a LinkedIn URL, are they already in the queue? If they do have a URL that's active, then they get added to their queue. If their title matches a decision maker pattern, like CEO, VP, director, they go into the in-mail queue rather than the connection request. So the majority or the bulk of your audience is going to go to the connection request. Once that's done, you'll have a list of ready to go LinkedIn leads. Okay, so because I had my Claude Code in plan mode, it's asking me if the plan looks good. So I'm just going to say yes and bypass permissions. And we're just going to let it cook some more. Okay, cool. So Claude finished that, and it looks like it's letting us know that we're going to need to replace our spreadsheet ID on line 15 of this script. And so what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to go back to my spreadsheet. I'm just going to copy the entire URL, and then I'm going to go in here and I'm going to say, this is the spreadsheet that you'll be working in. I've pasted the URL. You can extract the ID from it. And then I'm going to paste that, send it over. And then so now the script will have the exact ID that we're going to use. So it's updated the sheet ID. Let me zoom in a bit more. Cool. So sheet ID is on line 15 now. So now it knows what spreadsheet this script is going to be running in if we ever just run this. The next step is we're going to add a couple of filters to this script, because some of these AI aggregators like Apollo, sometimes these LinkedIn URLs are invalid. And so even LinkUp will hallucinate when generating a URL. So what we want to do is we want to add a fake URL detection as well as a blacklist step. So I'm going to copy this prompt and I'm going to paste this in here as well. And what this is going to do is just verify that the LinkedIn URL has the proper slug at the end of it. Because when some of these hallucinations occur, and I've tested this multiple times, they're missing the IN after the slash. And then we also add a blacklist filter that checks our blacklist tab. In this case, I like to use domains because an organization's domain is going to live here along with the email. In most cases, someone included in the organization will be their name at domain, right? So I like to include this step just to check both data points. So I'm going to copy this, go back to Anti-Gravity, paste it, I'm going to hit run, and then we'll just let it cook. Okay, cool. So it looks like it's finished. and it's giving us a summary of what exactly happened here. So it's going to check if it has a LinkedIn URL. If it does, it's going to reject any slugs that are shorter than 3 characters. And it's also going to reject slugs that have fake suffixes like these, because real slugs actually have the person's name, never really their title, unless that is in their name, which is rarely ever is. And then it's also going to check the blacklisted tab, and it's going to strip data points within the original database and check if any of the domains are associated with those data points. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to tell Claude, apply this run to the appropriate queue tabs, and also give me a report as to which rows had the fake LinkedIn and which one was blacklisted. Cool. So FYI guys, the sample leads that we have here are just big names. Like we have Gary Vaynerchuk, we have Alex Hermosi, Grant Cardone. So I'm just using them to run this example. And then we'll be sending connection requests to them as well towards the end of this video. But why don't we see what Claude Code does here? Okay, so it looks like it had to correct itself on the dry run. And so all of our sample lead sets don't have any blacklisted, they don't have any blacklisted domains, and all of the LinkedIn URLs are valid. So that's actually true. When I was putting this list together, I was hoping it would figure it out. And our fake LinkedIn filter is 0 caught because all 50 leads are legitimate slugs, and our blacklist filter is 0 caught because there's 3 blacklisted domains. But what I want to do now is I'm going to take one of these fake domains, and just to show you how this works, I'm going to create a fake lead. It's going to be a completely fake lead. So why don't we do Rob Jones, and then we'll do Rob at the band domain. We'll do founder. Company name would be do not contact. And then we'll do a fake LinkedIn. So let's see what happens. Rob-Jones. So this is a real LinkedIn. I just clicked on it. Yeah, so that's a real LinkedIn. So we'll keep the real LinkedIn, but let's see if our script finds that. So I wanted to go back here and I say, hey, I just added a new row to the lead list. Can you run the script to add them to the appropriate queue tab? And now we'll see if our script is working. If it is, this person should not be added to any queue tab whatsoever. So it looks like it is found that the lead that we just added was blocked by the blacklist filter due to their website matching our blacklist filter. So no new leads were added. It also fixed a bug as it was running this command. So it looks like we're good to go. So the next step is going to be adding some message templates. This is completely optional. You guys don't have to do this. So it's really just about whatever your preference is. So what we'll do is we'll go here, we'll copy our message templates. And if you actually want to read these, what you'll see is the message template, it refers to our email context for when rows get appended from a positive reply. So we actually are mapping that data, that email context, to our queue tabs if they come from a positive reply. That way, if our agent wants to write messages, it can reference the ones that were sent to them via email. So I'm just going to copy this, I'm going to paste it, and then I'm going to let our agent cook. So as the script is cooking, I just wanted to go check on the tabs and see how they're looking so far. So from our 51 sample leads, we have about 37 in our InMail tab because these people are CEOs, co-founders, things like that. Whereas if we go to our connection queue, we have people that are also CEOs and founders. We have some co-founders. So I need to clean up how the script determines who's going to go in the connection versus InMail, but you guys get the idea here. Maybe you want to connect with founders and then you want to drop InMail completely. That's okay. Or maybe you just want to run InMail. That's cool too. But you can see that InMail reserved only founders and CEOs, whereas Connection actually had some authors in here, CMOs, CCOs. So just throwing that out there. But now we have all the headers, all the data is mapped perfectly. Why don't we take a look at what some of these message samples look like? So I'm going to run a command and we're going to take a look. Okay, great. So I ran this command that's going to check the connection messages, and I'm going to hit Control O. So if I open this up, you can see the connection request messages template. And so if there is some positive reply, like if they're priority 1 and they have email context, this is what the draft came up with, which is okay. I honestly feel like because I didn't give it more instruction on what we're selling or what our service is, it's trying to make something up, and so you can see it's reading a bit wonky. But if you look at our generic connection message, it just says, hey, notice your company is in the industry space. We're always connecting with industry leaders. I would like to have you in my network. So that looks good. And then we have a fallback, and it just says, hey, connecting with your industry professionals to share insight would be great to connect. So I think that's pretty soft. It's a matter of A/B testing, see what works, what doesn't, especially depending on your industry. And then we have some in-mail messages here if you guys wanted to do that. And you can always tweak these templates however you'd like. Our next step is the browser actions. So this is the key innovation because we aren't using CSS selectors. Because sometimes that breaks, especially when we're trying to, type out the LinkedIn messaging. The HTML can be finicky with this. We use an accessibility tree instead. And before we actually run prompt 4, we're going to want to install Vercel's agent browser. This is better than Playwright MCP or the Playwright install. It's a Vercel project and it just runs less bloated. So for me, because it's in my YouTube-demo open project folder, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this command, but I'm going to run it within that folder. So let me just copy this here. I'm going to open up my regular terminal. I'm going to paste it there. And so for you guys, you're going to want to make sure that it's in the proper location. So let's see, npm fund. So I'm just going to follow along with whatever my terminal is telling me. It looks like it's been installed. Just want to make sure. But what you can also do is you can just go back to your terminal where you're running or building the system, and you can just say, hey, can you confirm that this has been installed to our project folder? And then I just paste that in there, and then it'll handle everything from there. So once you have that installed, then we're going to go to the prompt 4 where we're going to create the magic. Let me just replace this here. It's not Anthropic. Cool. Okay, cool. It's installed as agent browser, not as Anthropic/agent browser. Okay, cool. Great. You can update the Claude.md because the correct one is agent browser as it is installed. So there is no different package. This is the correct package. Okay, great. So while that's doing that, I'm going to take prompt 4. I'm going to copy it. And then I'm going to paste it back in here, and then I'm going to hit run, and we're going to let it cook. And this is going to build our agent and essentially build the instructions, the guardrails, the human delays, all that stuff, what to select, what to look for. So we're just going to let it cook for a little bit. Okay, cool. So finished cooking, gave us the summary on what's going on here. You can see that the workflow pretty much consists of taking snapshots and getting the accessibility tree of the page, and so that's what makes this less bloated. Playwright, on the other hand, uses a lot of tokens, and this Vercel project was really the innovation to this whole thing. But moving on, we have prompt 5, and this is what ties everything together. So it reads from the in-mail connection queue, the in-mail queue and the connection queue, and then it relays that data back to the agent browser, and pretty much it's like the glue to everything. So what I'm going to do is just copy this. Yeah, it has the flow here, it has the error handling. I'm going to copy, I'm going to paste it, and then we're just going to let it cook. And this is completely from the ground up, so you guys can make tweaks to this however you'd like. Like I said, with the templates, especially the messaging templates, if there's certain things that you want to change, you can do that. You can talk to Claude Code, ask it to ask you clarifying questions, or you can even ask what's customizable. Maybe the speed at which it sends this connection request is too slow for you. You want to see it faster, although I would be careful. You don't want to trigger any sort of automation detection. That's why the certain rate limits that we have, or not rate limits, I'm sorry, certain guardrails that we have are anywhere from 10 to 20 seconds per, not request rather, but visiting or looking up people's pages. So, okay, so this is the results of our prompt 5, the outreach orchestrator. I'm just gonna do a quick dry run to see how it's doing everything. So I'm gonna run this command, and as long as this checks out, the next step from here is building out a modal agent that classifies instantly replies, sends it via Slack, and then also pushes that data to our end-to-end webhook. So I'm including that in this tutorial. Let's take a look at the results. So the rate limits here, these are connections, these are the in-mails, 80 profile visits a day. So this is all really good. In-mail queue, we have 37 pending, we have 50 pending, 0 priority. Cool. So it's reading the it's reading the tabs correctly, and then it's doing a dry run, which means that it's picking up the data from these tabs, and then it's letting us know what it would look like once it gets sent to the browser agent. So the dry run here would be, it would process Gary, that's the LinkedIn URL, and then this is the message. Same thing for the next person, and so on and so forth. So what we're gonna do, just because I noticed that my token context is more than halfway used, I'm just gonna save this context, and then I like to clear shortly thereafter. Cool, so everything is saving. Cool, once everything is clear, I like to hit the / command clear, and then I'll just resume. And then I'll actually link a video on how to build these commands so you can use fresh session context every time. I'll link it later on. I'll probably have to append it because the video is not out yet. But you can see when I hit resume, it gives me a summary of what we were working on, so we can just pick up exactly where we left off. So the next step is actually setting up a modal. The reason why we want to set this up is so that we can get this data here that we get in our Slack from our instantly campaigns, and then send that over to N8N so we can actually append the rows that need connection requests or update their priority. So we're going to need a few things. We're going to need our Anthropic API key, Instantly API key, Slack webhook, N8N webhook. So I'll do all of this live for you guys. Why don't we start with storing some of this data? So I'm going to get set up by collecting all these things first. So we'll go to Instantly, and why don't I do this for a different client of this yet for? So we'll go to integrations, we'll go to API keys, we'll create an API key, we'll name it to demo, and then we'll give it all the scopes. Create, I'll copy this, and I'll save it somewhere. Cool, so I have the API key saved. Okay, the next one we're gonna do is Anthropic. Once you go to Anthropic, on the right hand side, go down to console, and let's see if I have mine here. Cool, so I'm in my console. We'll go down to API keys. Let me just make sure that I actually have some money on here, which I do, should be fine. Why don't I just buy some more real quick? $5. Wow. Okay, cool. So we added $5. It's going to go to API keys. We're going to create a new one. We'll do YouTube demo add. I'm going to copy this. I'm also going to save this somewhere. The next thing we're going to want to do is do a Slack webhook. Do Slack. We have apps here, but I don't necessarily. Oh no, we'll go back. So we'll go to api.slack.com/apps. And why don't I create a new channel specifically for this? So we'll create a new. We'll do -demo. Next, I'll make it public. Cool. And then what I'll do here is I'll create a new app from scratch. The app name will be YouTube Modal, and then it'll be in my workspace. So now it's in my workspace. And then I'll go down to incoming webhooks. We'll turn this on, add a new webhook, and then we'll select that channel. So we'll go scroll down YouTube demo. So this is where it'll be. Hit allow. Now I'm going to copy the webhook URL. I'm going to save that somewhere. Cool. So we have our Slack webhook. Next, what we're going to want to do is, I believe, create our N8N webhook. So before we actually do the modal setup, I want to grab that N8N webhook, and then we'll have everything that we need to create this agent. So what I'll do here is my N8N. I'm just going to log in, and then we'll create a brand new workspace or workflow. So the first step we're going to want to make is a webhook. And then I'm going to grab the production URL immediately. I'm going to copy it, and then I'm just going to save that as well. Cool. So I have all of the things that I need. From here, what I'll do is I'm going to bring forward all the prompts. I'm going to copy this modal email agent. I'm going to copy this exactly, and then I'm going to have it post to Slack. So I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to paste it over to my Claude code here, and then I'm going to hit send. So it's going to build that out for me. Why don't I just fix this real quick? Okay, cool. And then I'm also going to provide my Instantly API key. I'm going to share it right here. And then I'm also going to share my Anthropic key. So I'm pretty much going to paste all this stuff. Slack URL, and then the N8N URL. Cool. So now it has everything here, and now I'm giving it all of the stuff that it needs to push this data. So I'm going to tell Claude Code, save these in v.env, and then it'll grab it when we need it. So the next prompt will be to deploy and test. Yeah, so cool. Now that it's saved, I'm going to paste the prompt 6.5 to deploy and test all these. But we're actually going to need a modal, which I don't believe I have set up. Let me see. So while Claude Code is figuring that out, let us see if we have modal set up, which I don't believe we do. Okay, let me set up modal. So I can just copy this first step and I just tell it, hey, install modal, pip install modal, and then I'll tell it to authenticate. Let's see what happens. Cool, looks good. And I'm gonna say authenticate. So modal's installed. I'm just gonna keep hitting yes. Then I'm gonna tell it to authenticate. I'm gonna keep hitting yes. So you can see that Claude is pretty much handling all the technical stuff for the most part for me. We just have to make sure our orders are in proper order. So API token created, awesome. I already had a modal account, so that's the one that was authorized. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new app since I already have these. I want this to be separate. Cool. Let me see if I can create a secret. So I have apps here that already exist, and then let me find a modal secret. Oh, perfect. It created a new one for me. So it looks like it created the LinkedIn-email-agent. So this is a brand new app that it just created for me. Awesome. So it looks good. Deployed successfully. Here are the endpoints. So what we're going to do after that is we have the modal. It's deployed. Everything looks good. And now that everything looks good, we're going to want to hop into N8N to create the workflow. But before I do that, I want to try to test this by saying, can you push data to the Slack channel using the instantly API key? Find a positive reply and push it to the Slack channel. Okay, so what it's going to do now is we're going to query the instantly API using the key that I gave it and find a positive reply that it can classify as positive, and then push that to the Slack channel so we have data that we can now test with when we're building out the N8N workflow. Say yes. Let's see what happens. So while that's cooking up, let's go back into our N8N workflow. We have all the steps that we need right here. So going back to the webhook, I'm going to hit post. And then the next step would be an if command, if I'm not mistaken, or if node. Yeah, so if here. And then so you can already see that we're going to need data in order to ensure that this looks correct. So why don't I just go back to anti-gravity. Okay, Claude Code is looking to grab a conversation or a reply that was positive, so we can use it as actual data to build our N8N workflow. You can see on the screen, it's going through different URLs to find the proper docs, it's testing different endpoints, and we finally got it to work, right? But it's still having a hard time figuring out, how to grab an email. So what I did instead was, if you guys already have a campaign running, just go back into your campaign and then grab an email associated to a positive conversation. And then that way, I'm just going to paste that in here. And so what's going to happen next is it's going to query the proper endpoints to pull that conversation. And then we can then pull that or push that to our Slack channel. So we actually have data here that we can start working with. So I'm going to give it a couple minutes to cook while that's happening. Okay, awesome. So it looks like it was able to find the thread. It found the positive reply. And then you can see now it's going to push through the deployed modal to classify it and post it to Slack. So we're just going to wait for that. Cool. So here it is. Awesome. It's right here. We have the direct link to the Unibox. We have the summary, and then we even have the draft reply. So with that, why don't we go back to our N8N workflow? We're going to publish this. You're going to want to make sure it's actually live, so it's in production. And then I'm going to say, got it. I'm going to go to executions. No executions are found, and that's because it wasn't published yet. So let me go back to anti-gravity. Awesome. Can you push it again? I just published the N8N workflow, so I want to be sure that it's going to receive the data. Cool. So now we're just going to wait, and within the next few seconds, we should see that an execution was triggered. It's like it's running it again. Awesome. Awesome. And it looked like it worked, so we can see an execution here. So now we have data that we can work with. Perfect. So we have this data here. Awesome. So I'm going to go back to editor. Let me just copy this to the editor. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go down. We're going to take the classification value. And if it's equal to hot or if it's equal to warm. So if it's equal to hot or warm, then it's going to continue on with our flow. And then from here, what we're going to do is we're going to look for that lead inside. We're going to look for that lead inside of our database. So we're going to get rows and sheet. And so let us go to that sample. Yeah, so we have the data. The sheet that we're going to choose is sample leads. We're going to add a filter, and then we're going to grab the email column because that's what's going to be coming from our campaign. We're going to grab the lead email, and then we're going to attach that value there. Now, this person is not in our cold email campaign. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to go into our sample data, grab the sample leads, and then we're going to grab somebody who is, and we're going to see if we can push the sample data to our N8N webhook. So for the sake of testing, can you take this email and all the data points and push it to end-to-end directly so I can continue configuring the workflow. Okay, cool. And then you know what? Instead of doing the email, I'm just data points, which I think would just be like, yeah, I guess it would just be all this anyway. I'm gonna paste it. Cool. So if I go to executions, I can check this out. And you can see that this time it's Gary Vaynerchuk, right? It's not somebody else. So I'm gonna unpin that. I'm gonna copy it to our editor. And now that we have that data, what I can do here is I can load this and hit run or execute workflow. And because it was able to successfully find someone in that database, it's just going to continue on with the flow where it updates the priority of that person in our connection queue. But what we're going to want to do is configure this a bit more by going to settings, always output data, and then for whatever reason, if there's an error, you're just going to want to add that. So from here, okay, so after we add the if node, we're actually going to do a couple of conditions. So if the LinkedIn URL string is not empty, is going to be the first condition, or if the JSON object is not empty. So why? So if there is a result, then we want this to continue down the true path. If, for example, a lead doesn't exist in our database, then we want it to go down the false path, because then we're going to have to enrich for that person. So let me give you an example. If we go back to our first run with that first lead, they don't exist in our example lead set. So I'm going to copy this to editor. I'm going to save this, and given these variables, because I configured this node to always have an output, even if there's no result, that means the output would be empty. Therefore, the object would be empty. So it'll go down the false path. So I'm going to hit execute. And if that's the case, which it is, it goes down the false path. So if that is the case, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to enrich for that person. So we're going to try to find their LinkedIn using linkup. So we'll do an HTTP request. And then you could just go to linkup.so. The nice thing about linkup is they give you $5 in free credits. So I'm just going to grab the curl. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to go here, and then I'm going to import the curl. Okay, cool. I'm going to have to rotate my freaking key. But once I import the curl, you can see that we have all of the parameters, everything already set up for us. So we're going to do standard depth, output type is search results. We're actually going to want to do a structured output type. The reason being is because if we do a structured output type, then it's going to be easier to parse. So I actually already have this set up for you guys, and I'll include it in the prompts. Cool. So let me copy this, and I'm going to include this in the asset. So it's the description's in the link. That way it's just easier for you guys to build. So here is the prompts. Respond to webhook. Where can I paste this? I'll do the curl here. All right, cool. So you could just paste that there. So this is in the case in which we don't have their LinkedIn URL. Doesn't exist. Cool, so that worked. Awesome. So in the case where the LinkedIn URL does exist, we're just going to move on to the next step, which would be checking the queue tab to ensure that they're not there yet. So we're going to add a sheets node. We're going to get rows, and then we're going to go to the connection queue. And then in here, we're just going to want to make sure that their email, because that's what we're using to identify them. Let me find data where we did have the person exist. Cool. So there we go. So Gary's in here. I'll hit execute. I'll save this. All right. So once again, we have the email. We're going to want to map his email there. And so if there is a result, we're going to always want to output data. This is going to be a switch. Okay. So here are the rules. If status is equal to pending, we're just going to update the priority. If the status is equal to sent, then we ignore. And then if the status is empty, then that means it doesn't exist, and we append a new person. So we'll save all of these. So in the case of Gary Vaynerchuk, we know that he does exist in the connection queue. So what we're just going to do is update the priority to 1 instead. So because he's already pending, what we're going to do is go to sheets, update, get the right one, connection queue, and then we're going to match each column manually. We'll update on row number, map that over, and then we'll change priority from 2 to 1. We even add classification from webhook. The classification is here, and then we add the email context. If we have your agent configured to send messages based off the email context, you just have that there. So after that, you can just save, and then this updates. If it's already sent, it's just going to ignore. And then if he doesn't exist, then we're going to append that to the sheet. So what we'll do is we'll have to clear his row. So I'm going to hit execute. So what I did is I deleted Gary from the connection queue. It's going down to the correct path, but now we need to map all the stuff that we're going to include here. So it would be the if, and then we would append his first name, last name, email, title, company name, and then whatever data that we have, we just map everything in here. The LinkedIn URL does exist, so we're going to map that there, and then we're looking good. Awesome. So we also update the priority to 1 because this is based off of the interested trigger. So save that, make sure that it's published. So now that we execute, we should see Gary get updated. So if I scroll down, there he is, Gary, priority 1, right? And then we got to update the status, activate that. Status needs to be penned. Cool. And then we're good to go, ready to rock and roll. So let me run that one more time, make sure it looks correct. Awesome. Now that Gary is connected, he's appended to the row and he's in status 1. So that means because he's status 1, he'll get priority over the other ones when we launch the script. So just to finish the automation, what we'll do from here is add a quick if. And what we'll want to do with this is we're just simply going to check the URL. So if the LinkedIn has this, these characters, then we know it's a LinkedIn URL because AI tends to hallucinate that. So let me go back here. I'm going to save this. And then if it's true, I'm just going to append them to the sheet. I can actually just copy this one. And then I'm going to map our original data with somebody who isn't inside of our database. So what should now happen is we should run this. It should go down here since we're going to look for their LinkedIn URL. And then this failed. We're going to grab the LinkedIn, put it right here. Perfect. So now what's going to happen is this should equal true. If I execute it one more time, because we can find a proper LinkedIn URL, it's still equal. See, so notice how it, oh no, that looks about right. That looks correct. So why did it hit? Let's figure it out. So if, so we're going to want to do string contains, save, and let's run it one more time. So now let's see if it's true or not. So that's true. And just to verify, let me grab that LinkedIn URL. Awesome. That's real. So because we have a legit LinkedIn URL, it's true. What we're going to do here, now we're just going to append everything over. Let me remove all these values. That's the link URL. We're going to go all the way back to the if and then map everything we do have. We can skip that one. Have their email, their last name. Cool. So everything is there. They do become a #1 priority because they are positively responding. Classification also gets mapped over here. And then email content also get mapped over here. Status is pending. Perfect. So let me save this and then let me run that. So this is in the case in which we get a reply. They are not in our database, or excuse me, they are in our database, but their LinkedIn URL is not there. So we'll execute the workflow. Perfect. So when we go over to the connection queue, we should see they are there. Priority is also #1. We have all their data. So now when we launch this script, anybody that's priority 1 gets a connection request sent to first. We know that our modal now sends us internal notifications via Slack. We now know that any positive notifications also get sent to N8N. From here, what we should do is launch the actual system. So let me go back to anti-gravity. Looks like everything works well. So why don't we actually just try it out? Hey, let's run the LinkedIn outreach. So do the connection request just because I don't have any emails to send. Let's see what happens. So it might prompt you to launch certain dependencies like Playwright. You're just going to have to allow it to. I do have this installed in my other project folders, but this is the YouTube demo. So everything is pretty much fresh. Awesome. Looks good. So let me just sign in. So we should be logged in. Okay, sick. Cool. So we're logging in. First person it goes to is Gary Vaynerchuk. Reason why is because Gary Vaynerchuk is priority 1. So you guys already saw that. As it's going through the list, it's going to update. So it looks like the status, it has been, let's see, error. So we have an error. So let's figure out why. Timed out. Yeah. Check reason for error on Gary. So we're just going to have to iterate a little bit, refine it, see what's going on. Clear data. So fix the error, clear, then run again. For the LinkedIn, that shows error. So I had to debug a couple of things that I'll include inside the prompt. It just had to do with finding the dropdown button right here, and you can see we've already sent a connection request, but I had to withdraw that. And then once I withdrew it, I won't be able to connect with him again. So we're now going into a live run after some debugging. All of the prompts reflect the new updates, and we can see we're going to whoever this person is. My agent is clicking connect like it just did. It's offering to add a note for personalization. It looks like it accidentally pasted it inside the search bar rather than the actual text box. Perfect, we're all good. So now it's going to Alex Hormozy, clicks the 3 dots, and then it sent a connection request. Same thing. Do we want to add a note? I prefer not to. It's a slight bug here. It's actually pasting the note inside the search box, which is hilarious. But after Alex Hormozy, let's see, it's Layla Hormozy. And my hands are here, so you guys can see everything that's happening in real time. Awesome. Sent a connection request to Layla Hormozy. And then, so I'm just going to stop it. You guys can see what's happening. But yeah, that's hilarious. So I'm going to have to fix that a little bit. And it even sent it as a template. So anyway, all 3 went through. So it looks like we're all good. And then we can see that this is the message that it was meant to send. But that's the entire demo. Hope you guys found this valuable. If you have any snags, highly recommend just going back and forth with Claude Code. It's very, very good at debugging itself. Or you can just leave a comment down below and I'll get to it. Or you can even reach out to me in my Skool community. I help out everybody who creates a post in there. Once again, you can find all these prompts inside the Skool community in the classroom tab. It's completely free. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.